Hey guys, welcome back to Grim Productions, and in today's video we'll be discussing my ranking for the Spirit Halloween 2025 animatronic lineup based on my early excitement for them. So this is entirely based off the leaked photos that we've gotten, and of course some of the official videos that Spirit has released to us so far of some of the animatronics. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so coming in my last place, the prop that I am the least excited to see, and thankfully so, because he will not be a display animatronic, he will be an inbox only from what I've heard, but that is the Santa Claus Art the Clown. Typically, I've never really been the biggest Art the Clown fan. I thought the animatronic from last year was pretty cool, and it was very faithful to the character. But when I heard they were making a Santa Art the Clown, I just kind of thought it was the most unnecessary thing imaginable. There really is no point for an animatronic like this, especially so soon. And whenever we actually saw the animatronic, it just turned out to be a rehash of what we got last year. It was literally the exact same prop, just with an added weapon that wasn't even very exciting, and the Santa suit, of course. So I don't really think too many people are excited for this animatronic, to be honest. I know the character is popular and all, but the Santa art is kind of just a disappointment. Coming up next is another licensed character, being Young Hee from Squid Games. Now, I really have nothing against the animatronic itself. It actually seems like a pretty accurate representation of the character from the show. It even speaks in Korean and English, which is pretty cool, and it's something that's never really been done before, I feel like, for an animatronic. Not to mention the fact that it's also massive. Apparently it is 12 feet tall, which would make Spirit's first 12-footer, which is pretty crazy to think about. And it is, it looks accurate to the character from the show for sure. So if you're a fan of Squid Games, I'm sure this would be a great animatronic for you, despite the fact that it is like 700, around there, and even with the coupon, it's still pretty expensive. So good luck to you if you're trying to purchase this animatronic. But I'm just not really too excited for it because I have no interest in Squid Games ever. And to me, it's not Halloween at all. So I really see no point in getting this if you are a strictly like Halloween enthusiast. Continuing with the trend of licensed characters, we have the supposed Sam animatronic that should be coming out here pretty soon. Clearly he's not going to be an in-store prop, so I guess he'll be an online only, which I'm very happy about because, again, just like Art the Clown, we recently got a Sam animatronic back in 2019, then he came back for 2020 and 2021, so he's still a pretty recent character that we've seen from Spirit. We really don't need to see another version of him. I am kind of excited to see what they're going to do with him this time around, because there's a lot of things you can do with the character of Sam from Trick or Treat, but just seeing the character again doesn't really excite me too much. But again, it's not a crazy bad thing just because apparently he will be an online only. Coming in with our first original character from Spirit Halloween for this year, it is Two-Face Teddy. The animatronic we all thought was going to be something completely different. Of course, we were all hoping for a teddy bear-like monstrosity, and we got a very generic clown. Now, as far as a beginner clown prop goes, it's not horrible, it's not the worst thing you can get, especially because it is a budget-friendly animatronic. However, it's just kind of generic and the audio sucks, and I'm not really too excited for this one. It's nothing really too special. Again, he won't be a display prop. He'll be a filler and box only, if you will. So that is a good thing. I feel like Spirit is doing a better job of choosing what is going to be a filler or online only this year than they have in past years. Coming up next is yet another filler animatronic, being the Twisted Grandma, or Twisted Granny, whatever her name is. We've seen her concept for a while now. The image that we actually got, it looks a little different for sure than the actual concept art, which isn't a bad thing, and the whole look of the animatronic isn't horrible. Of course, it does have that puppet mouth, which we haven't seen from Spirit, I feel like, in a while, besides Bobby Strings, but that's because that's in character. But for the grandma, it is a little strange for sure. I don't know, I'm just not too excited for this one. I've never really been the biggest fan of like the creepy old lady animatronics, really, and this one's no different. After her, we have yet another clown, being Bullseye. This is one that is infamously known so far for being one of the worst ones of the year. Now, Bullseye isn't necessarily the worst animatronic, I feel, but he is a prop that had a cool concept, but was executed very generically, I would say. The quality of him doesn't also look to be the best either. The whole concept of the bullseye circle itself, the target, just looks really cheap looking, and his colors are a little too bright in my opinion. So, nothing really too crazy. I am excited for his animation though. I think it'd be really cool if he had like a ducking down kind of animation where he would sort of like sway a little bit, like as if he was trying to duck for like the targets or the darts. So that's pretty exciting. We'll have to see what he does with that. After Bullseye, we have the Cryptic Countess. This was one I was originally really excited for whenever we got the first leaked photo of her, and her hair was like covering her face, and she was super tall and eerie looking. That really, got me excited. I was hoping she was going to be a vampire. Then we got more like of a clearer look at her and her full face, and she just kind of looks like a generic SVI, creepy lady animatronic. Nothing I'm really too crazy for. The only thing I'm, excited to see for her really is the animation, just like Bullseye. Because besides the animation, I mean, she looks like the most generic prop you can really think of. A lot of people are claiming that props like her and Bullseye are AI generated, which could be the case, who knows. But it's pretty funny that they're also both in the archway theme. After her, we have Trick or Treat Pete, which is yet another clown. The thing interesting about Pete is that apparently he dispenses candy, which is something that's never really been done before, but I feel like it could become a really popular concept and move on to other sort of characters. I would love to personally see in the future maybe some kind of like classic Halloween goblin character that like spits out candy. I just feel like that would be so fitting for the kind of concept or gimmick that this character does. But of course it is another clown, so that's probably the main reason I'm not super excited for it. I am anxious to see how they present the candy aspect in stores mostly though, if it's going to be like fake candy or like actual legit candy, who knows. I'm sure there's probably some like legal stuff involved with having just candy out in the store like that that Spirit might not want to get into, but who knows, we'll see here pretty soon. After Pete, we have one I was also very, very excited for at the very beginning of the season, being the what is now known as the Night Owl. It was originally called Owl Beast from our knowledge. Yeah, the Night Owl is a giant owl. It's about 6 feet tall, once to the wings. It's a pretty cool prop, I'm not gonna lie. I do like it a lot. I would consider buying it at the half off sale for sure. And originally I was gonna buy it full price, but then I saw the price and my excitement for him kind of went down a little bit, also because the quality of him doesn't look to be the best necessarily, and I feel like I could have just done something cooler with him in general, but I do like the concept of this shadow creature in a sense. It is really cool for sure. Sticking with the trend of animals, we now have the Mutant Sewer Rat. Now this is an animatronic that a lot of people are excited for, and with good reason too. This is a pretty detailed animatronic. I think it is a good prop if you're looking for some kind of like weird animal creature. I think this is definitely what you should go for. Yes, he is short, but that's kind of with the detail of him being a rat, so it's not that big of a deal really with his height. It's just not really a prop I gravitate towards necessarily. If I was doing like a lab theme of some kind, then maybe I would buy him, but he's just not really one that's too exciting for me. Next up, we have the Sinister Straw Man. This makes our first scarecrow of the lineup. And okay, look, the face, the detailing of him looks phenomenal. I love the look of him. He's for sure my favorite Mr. Dark reskin of all time, but it is just that. It is a Mr. Dark reskin. There's really nothing too special about him. We know what he's gonna do, so the excitement isn't really there, but I am still, happy that he's in the lineup, I guess you could say. Coming in number 11, we do have Valick, which is probably the most popular licensed animatronic thus far, at least from the Haunter community. Who knows about, whenever the general public goes in there and they see young he. But Valick is, again, a very popular animatronic, and again, it's well-deserved. It is super well-detailed, very accurate to the character, and the jump scare is unique. However, the jump scare is the main issue with this animatronic. If you don't know, the Valick prop is already for sale, or it was for sale. It's actually being recalled due to the mechanism failing on multiple models, apparently, which is very interesting. I wouldn't really expect it, but I guess it could happen. This is a new type of mechanism. It's Spirit's still, I guess, testing something like this out, because it is sort of stepping into the line of a more professional animatronic and like their animations and all that. So who knows what's going to happen. I'm sure they'll fix it before stores open though. Coming in after Valick, we have the man himself, Jack the Reaper. This was a prop I've been speculating for such a long time now. I've done a video on it recently, actually. Go check that out if you haven't, please. But yeah, Jack the Reaper. Apparently, he is going to be a motion tracking animatronic, just like Nibbles the Clown was. So this is very exciting for sure. I think that's a great animation for him, I mean, he's a Reaper with a giant scythe, and he looks around at whoever walks by. That's wonderful. I feel like I would have preferred if they did that with just a generic Reaper more so than Jack the Reaper, just because I feel like the whole concept alone is cool of a Reaper staring at you as you walk by. But making it Jack the Reaper then kind of makes you look like you're some kind of, you know, fanboy for Spirit Halloween, which even though, I really love Spirit Halloween, I'm not sure if I would get Jack the Reaper for that reason. I do have to see the price. I've heard he's over 300, which is absurd. But again, I'll just, have to wait and see. Maybe with the coupon, it would be worth it. I am very excited to see him in person. I think he looks phenomenal. But again, it's just that price that really breaks it for me. Sticking with the Reaper theme, we have Grave Danger, which is a prop we've only gotten one very blurry image of at the flagship location. If it even is Grave Danger, let me know down in the comments below if it is or not. The Reaper itself looks cool, it looks like a generic Reaper. He looks massive. I'm really excited to see what he does. It would be really funny if this was another motion tracking animatronic that just wasn't Jack the Reaper, but it was their own Reaper, just because they might know that some people won't want to buy the Jack just because it is their mascot and they would just want a generic Reaper that does the same animation. That'd be really cool if it does that. I wouldn't be mad about that, even though it is sort of like a, I guess, lazier concept. But yeah, I mean, you can't really ever go wrong with the Reaper. They're some of my favorite Halloween characters, so I am pretty excited to see more of Grave Danger. Coming in after Grave Danger, we have our next Scarecrow-like character of the lineup being the Lantern Keeper. This is one I'm very excited for. I love the look of him. It's unique for a Scarecrow, I feel like. Not only does it have a pumpkin face, which we don't really see too often in Scarecrows, but just the whole coat that he's wearing looks neat. The hat is pretty unique for a Scarecrow, and then of course, the lantern that he's holding is pretty cool as well. And I think the hand sculpts on him look phenomenal. I can't wait to see him in person, and the lighting effects from what we've seen so far look pretty cool as well. My most excited thing for him though is that he is outdoor rated. He is durable for the weather, which I love. That makes me want to get him 100 times more, to be honest. I have to wait and see him in person and see his price. I don't think he's going to be too expensive really, but I am very anxious to see what his animation is. That is my biggest question. What is his animation? What does he say? What does he do? And why is he outdoor rated? Is he a prop that needs to be outdoor rated necessarily? And then of course the price on him. So I'm very excited for the Lantern Keeper. Coming in after the Lantern Keeper, we have Headcase Harry, probably one of the most popular animatronics thus far of the season. Yet another Two-Face clown, but this one done miles better than Two-Face Teddy. Headcase Harry is just a very interesting looking animatronic. The design on him is phenomenal. The colors on him are phenomenal. I think overall, he's a really well done clown. In my opinion, he's my favorite clown that we've probably gotten in the past few years. I'm just excited to see, what exactly all he does. How much movement does he have? Do both faces move around? Who knows really with him. Next up, we have another clown being Monkey Business. Now, I know I said Headcase Harry was probably my favorite clown that we've gotten in a while, but Monkey Business is the one I'm the most intrigued by, just because I'm wanting to see exactly more of that monkey character. We haven't seen too much of it. It's kind of peeking in and out of the box, so we don't really know if it's supposed to be like a toy or like a legit monkey or what the deal is, or if it's going to be a jump scare. There's a lot of mystery behind this animatronic and what it's going to do, which is what gets me excited for it, Down to our last two animatronics, and for this one we have Trixie. Now, typically, I don't go for these types of characters. I'm not the biggest fan of the creepy little kid with a knife or whatever, but something about this design and the way that she has a Halloween mask on, it just looks very vintage to me, and I love that aesthetic a lot. And I like how simple it is with the knife and the sack bag and her clothes that she's wearing. All in all, a really well done animatronic, and especially the animation. I'm so excited for the animation because it is apparently a reskin of Dagger Mike and Dark Princess, which are both very, very just intense jump scare props. They will get most people. And I've really wanted to add one to my collection for a long time now, but I wasn't the biggest fan of either Dagger Mike or Dark Princess. However, Trixie is one that I'm definitely considering. Again, I like most of the details about her pretty much. The face looks a little creepy, or off, but in a creepy sense. It's very uncanny. So, I feel like that's kind of purposefully done. Very excited to see her in person. Depending on the price, which wasn't horrible for the other two, I might pick her up for sure. And lastly, the prop that I'm the most excited to see, again, a prop that I typically would never get, and I'm probably not going to get this one, is the Fire Demon. Now, the reason I'm probably not going to get this one is just because he's a very satanic, demonic character, and I really don't gravitate towards those characters. I never display them. I probably won't really do ever a haunt themed around that kind of stuff. So as far as me actually getting him, I probably won't be, but I'm still very excited to see what he does. I think the detailing on him looks amazing, and from what we've seen in that photo where he's kind of all cloaked up, I'm super excited for what that animation is going to look like whenever he reveals himself and the lights cut on, and just he looks so intimidating and scary, and I'm very excited to see it. One of my most all-time favorite props is the Black Heart, for sure, from Spirit at least. And so to see an animatronic very reminiscent of the Black Heart, but dare I say maybe a little bit darker in theme, is very exciting for sure, and I'm sure the lighting effects are going to be great on him. Overall, very, very well done. I feel like, honestly, if they would have released this prop last year and named it the Cremator, because it's kind of in the same concept of fire, this would have been far more well received than the actual Cremator really was. But, you know, we got him this year. I'm very excited for him. I know a lot of people are. So let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of the Fire Demon? Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But tell me down in the comments below, what do you think of the new setup I'm doing? I typically don't do face videos ever, but I'm kind of thinking about changing it up a little bit, you know, maybe adding more to this backdrop that I have here. Again, just let me know down in the comments below, what do y'all think of it? And tell me, what do y'all think of the Spirit Halloween 2025 lineup so far? And when do you think they'll reveal the rest of the lineup to us officially? Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.